Hello, everybody. Good afternoon to you. So, thanks for joining us another weekend. Thank you so much for coming. We're going to be starting our lecture today in about 2 minutes. So, for you that it's coming in, connecting, just use this opportunity to listen to the music in the background, start getting into the energy, to the calm, relaxing energy. That's right. Allow your body to relax. Allow your mind to start to quiet down. Feel the energy around you. Try your best to be in a place of silence, of quietness at the moment. Alright, so once again, for those that are joining now, we're going to be preparing to start our lecture this afternoon. Thank you so much for you that is joining now. Welcome in one more Saturday that we gather here to learn, to get stronger, to inspire ourselves, to learn more about our own traits, our psychological mind, our emotional mind, our spiritual mind. So before we start this lecture, I invite all of us, if you want to close your eyes, you can. If you want to keep your eyes open, it's also okay. Let's start this lecture with a prayer. Elevating our thoughts to our guardian angels, to Master Jesus, to all of the good spirits, seeking throughout this closer connection, stability, peace, and quietness within our souls, to really allow us to feel this moment, to feel the several minutes, to open our consciousness, our awareness, to perhaps allow ourselves, create conditions for a better understanding of the universe around us, of the spirituality that is always with us. Our own choices based on our own preferences, on our own wisdom and knowledge. And let's be inspired by our guardian angels at this moment to start our lecture this afternoon. Thanks Jesus, thanks God. So once more, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Once more, I have to basically say that, because if it wasn't for all of you that are now connecting and perhaps using this moment of your weekend to be here with us, so we feel as well your energy, your comments on Facebook, the fact that you're watching it. Remember that we're all connected, and the intention that you particularly are here today to listen and to see if we can all together learn, because I do remember I'm not a preacher. I don't intend to be, and I'm not even qualified to be. So all I'm here doing sharing what I've studied for in preparation for this lecture, in order for us all, because we're all on the same journey, we're on the same page, we're on the same boat, in order for us all to reflect and hopefully learn one step forward towards our evolution this afternoon. So today we're going to be discussing, unveiling, talking more about the topic of nothing is impossible. That's the title and the theme of today's lecture. Nothing is impossible. And truly, nothing is impossible. And we know that. When we remember about the impossible, our human mind classifies what's possible and what's not possible based on our current and limited understanding of the universe around us. So today, I may say, for example, it is 100% possible that I can move from point A to point B. For me, that I have the privilege of have my full motion, my body full motion. It is perfectly possible for me to go from point A to point B, that is 1 kilometer apart, and it's possible for me to walk from point A to point B. And 100% of the people, knowing a certain individual in its physical condition, would probably agree with me to say, yes, Carlos, I agree, it is possible for someone to walk from A to B. In the same way that we classify what's possible, we also classify the impossible. So if I think an example of something that almost 99 or 100% of the people would agree it's impossible, and that we, human beings, in our specific bodies right now, we would fly. We would levitate. We would just raise above the ground without the help or support or any aid. And all of us would agree that's impossible. Well, because understanding the current physical laws and the natural laws that we know of today, based on this world and this physical world, I can't disagree. It's pretty much impossible. So what it is possible and what's not possible is purely based, as I said just previously, on our knowledge of the laws that govern, of the laws that are behind everything that happens in our physical and material world. Don't you agree with me? Isn't that the case? And often when we talk about the impossible, historically speaking, going back in time, I can't even say when, I don't know how, but we know the word miracle. And the word miracle, I was doing some very basic research on the internet here, and I found the definition for miracle, just for us to be talking on the same page here. So miracle, like extraordinary and welcome event that is not explicable by natural or scientific laws, and therefore is attributed to a divine agency. So I'll read that again. An extraordinary and welcome event that is not explicable by natural or scientific laws, and therefore is attributed to a divine agency. So miracles is a big topic. And a lot of the background information, a lot of the background knowledge for this lecture today to talk about the impossible, it's going to touch and it's going to merge into the miracles subject. And we'll be going through that a little bit more for us to understand, or help ourselves to better understand, I guess. So if I go back to that definition I just read, it goes back to something extraordinary. Something extraordinary is normally something that we can't explain. it is beyond our expectation on how things would normally occur, that would normally develop. And it's not able to be explained by our natural or scientific laws. Our natural scientific laws, they're constantly evolving. Wouldn't you agree with me? It wasn't too long ago, we didn't have nowhere near the same understanding of what we have today in many different fields of science, medicine, the understanding of our body, the relationship of our physical body with our mental body, the energy around us. There has been lots and lots of development and studies throughout a much more holistic way of looking at us human beings, apart from our physical matter, which was always studied by the traditional medicine. Yeah. So I don't need to spend a lot of time, perhaps for you and me to agree, that these natural laws or physical laws, they are not something that is fixed. Natural laws and physical laws are constantly evolving. Constantly. And if I know that, and therefore I accept that, we also know that we don't know too much. We only know what we know, and we don't know what we don't know. Apart from this sounding pretty obvious, there is a very deep meaning of that. Is that if I, as a human being and a humble spiritual being, understand that I do not know everything about the universe as yet. I'm yet not capable to understand every single connection and relationship and how this integration of energy and material world and spiritual world, how does this all come together? We're still scratching the surface on that one. We're still scratching the surface. We're starting to really get the first smear of understanding on how our bigger and wider universe works. Especially when it comes to what the influence of this whole energetic universe has on us, and vice versa. Going back to the miracle topic, and why I'm talking about our understanding of the universe and how much we don't know, is that in history, like I just read the definition for us, everything that was classified as I can't explain based on what I know today, I as humanity, was put on the basket of miracle because I just can't explain what just happened there. It was beyond the physical possibilities, isn't it? So let's take a classical example, and I think I'm almost certain that you and me, all of us, would have heard or would either know somebody directly or indirectly that has a similar story. It might not be exact the story I'm going to be exemplifying here, but it's going to be something around that. Someone would have been diagnosed with a serious disease. Let's take for the example now cancer. I know someone that have been diagnosed with brain cancer. It's not a direct person that I know. It's actually a father of someone that I got to know at a point in time. And that person was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctor said, look, it's pretty serious. The medicine at the time said, look, we're not sure how we're going to tackle this cancer. We're actually not even convinced we can treat this cancer effectively to a point that is actually going to be able to control it and to heal it. And therefore, the doctors at the time gave a very small chance for that person to actually survive, seriously speaking. In cases like that, actually, unfortunately, happens quite often. In that specific case, the person describes that the dad had, I think was a man of a lot of faith, and there was a lot of people, I guess, that started to really praying for him, and he himself started to really going much deeper on the understanding of the function of that specific disease on his life. So there was a lot of, how can I say, internal work that man was doing on his own. And as a summary, I think it got to a point where the doctors, he was due to go back to another exam, another scan. I don't know how long it took because I don't remember the story in details. But bottom line is, at a certain point, he went back to do the exams, and the cancer was gone. The tumor has shrunk to a point that it wasn't even be able to be identified on the scans. And at the time, all the doctors, of course, they said that's impossible. That's a miracle. We can't explain what just happened. We cannot explain what just happened. And like I said just minutes ago, I'm sure all of you would know cases that under the eyes of the medicine or the traditional approach would be classified as something miraculous. And I think, and that's the point that now is probably the role of this discussion that we are having, is that actually in the eyes of the universe, on the eyes of God, on the eyes of the Creator, nothing is impossible. And let's tackle this nothing is impossible from two senses, basically. So we try to help ourselves a little bit more to be even more comfortable with that statement. Nothing is impossible on the eyes of God or the Creator, or whatever name that you assign to this higher power. So one aspect of it is, let's try to see if we can explain the elimination of this tumor from the brain of this father, just out of apparently nowhere. We know that our material bodies, we are actually swimming and we're immersed by a lot of energy that we're not able to see and touch and feel. We might be able to feel, some of us feel that a lot, but not a lot of us. And we know that there is a lot of influence that happens from this energetic field, from our brainwaves, from our thoughts. We know the power of our thoughts, because that's actually something that's being studied in the last 3 or 4 decades to a huge extent, the power of thinking, the mind power. And it is still incredible how, if I isolate everything around me and I just think about my own ability to heal myself through my own mental determination, I'm able to drive a completely different chemistry in my body if I set myself for that can on its own, just on hormones, chemical balance, and etc. I'm not from the field of medicine, so I have to limit my words. That on its own can already make a huge difference. And there are books and researches that proves that. Now, if I add the extra complexity, the extra layer, that is not just about me as an individual being, alone with my own thinking and my thoughts and my mind, and that's my only hope. There is a lot that happens between myself as a being and my connection to the spirituality, to the universe, to the cosmos, to the energy around me. Each one of us will probably accept these terms or terminology that I've used a bit better than others, and that's okay. So it is still unknown to us, or to most of us, how would spirituality, based on what I deserve at this point in time, what is necessary for me to go through, what's going to be good for my journey, for my learning, for my development, for my evolution. Spirituality in its whole energetic field can change the course of diseases that happens to us, can change the course or even how long or short our life is going to be, can change the course of things that may happen to us. Not that we're completely out of control on those. We're still in the driver's seat. We're still determining, as the main driver, how things are going to progress in my own life. Because the only thing I can influence is how I react to what happens to me. I can't necessarily control, you and me cannot necessarily control what does or does not happen to us. Sometimes or often is out of our control. The only thing I can control and you can control is how I react to what happens to me. And as long as we, you and me, we contribute to what we can, that's where the exercise of faith comes into play. I shall do everything within my power to help me, to heal me, if that's what I really want. And then I have to really practice my detachment, my true faith in believing that whatever it's going to be good for me, whatever is meant to be happening to my life, one way or the other, I have to just let it be. Trust that whatever is meant to be for me, the spirituality, my mentor guides, God, will do what is just. Justice will always be there because God is just. And it might be tough for some of us to actually go through the loss of family members, especially if they come much sooner than expected. But it is through those losses that we're really tested to exercise the belief that we have in the continuation of life. It is easy to believe in the continuation of life when I don't lose anybody, when I don't go through the pain and the suffering of not being able to be physically present and close to somebody that I so much loved. So therefore we are expected to exercise our love now in a different level. A love that is still there and is now being asked to be tested to see if it's as great as the love that is still active, still burning on a good way, without the physical presence of that somebody. Because deep inside myself, the loss of someone is a question to you and me asking ourselves, do you truly believe the person that has just physically left its body, his or her body, that person is gone? Or do you believe, do you and I believe that person is just saying, I'll see you very soon. I'll see you later. And we can reflect as well on that as the miracle of life. I heard someone that actually studies embryology saying that up to now, medicine or the science still struggles to understand when the male cell and the female cell actually first come together. I'm missing the technical words here. There is basically one single cell, and that single cell starts to divide itself. Now 1 becomes 2, and 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, and so on and so on. It gets to a specific number where this group of cells that are still pretty much countable, they're identical cells. There's not a single differentiation between them. But it gets to a specific stage where then they start to differentiate. Because eventually this little group of cells that are a bit different to the others is going to start to form different parts of this physical body. Now nobody yet has been able to explain how come up to a certain point the cells are identical and something happens that beyond that point the cells start to be different from each other. What makes that? What triggers that differentiation? Medicine is medicine is still struggling to find a trigger point. And that on its own is the miracle of life. And the miracle of life happens across our existence, across our day, every single time. Is that we are not trying to see what is commodity, what is normality as miracles. But if we truly think deeply, the complexity of the systems that are within our physical body, the complexity of the integration of my mind, my soul, my physical body, the way I behave and act with the universe to the others, it is of a bizarre complexity. And we take that for granted because that's for us as normal. But that on its own is a miracle. I know it's a very trivial and normally used example. I love nature, I love trees, I love plants. And I enjoy seeing the seasons. How the same tree across the year changes its colors, changes its leaves, changes its growth rates, completely driven by nothing, but just a fundamental connection to the whole environment. Isn't that amazing? And we take it for granted. So, to summarize this and start homing in to what we would like to keep from this discussion, there's one thing then that we should take away, at least one thing that we should take away from this conversation, is that nothing, literally nothing, is impossible. What's going to determine if something is going to happen or not is not the fact that it's possible or not, but is the fact that it's meant to be or not. So truly nothing is impossible, but not everything is meant to be. That's the difference. If it is meant to be, you and me are going to get healed. We're going to get the cure. If it's meant to be, you and me are going to achieve whatever we think it's very, very hard to be achieved. But remember as well that the laws of nature are merged with the law of work and progress. Nothing happens without my own investment. Nothing happens without my energy and my work, my desire, my intention. If I just sit here and do nothing, I'm not doing my bit. And therefore, it's going to be questionable if the outcome is that whatever I'm expecting doesn't happen. I can't just say, well, I think God didn't want this to happen. Did you and me did what we could, everything that we could within our own powers and capabilities to get there. So let's keep those thoughts. Let's keep those thoughts for today. Nothing is impossible, but not everything is meant to be. Okay? Guys, I appreciate a lot your time. I appreciate a lot your energy, your connection. And I would like to make a final prayer for us then to calm ourselves. So breathe in deeply. Let's thank our Master Jesus. Thanks all the guardian angels that have been here with us. Thanks for all the spirits that have contributed to inspire this lecture, to create conditions that all of us are listening to these words, not just from our physical ears, but also with the ears of our soul. Let's pray and vibrate that the knowledge that we have acquired today can help us tomorrow, can help us in our next decisions, to structure a better thinking process. Let's thank God for the opportunity for us to be here. And let's thank God for also the physical health that we enjoy today, whatever that physical health is. So let's thank Jesus, thanks God, and thank you once again. All right? Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend, and I'll talk next time. Bye-bye.